Oh, let me tell you something. Bustin' makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, the wonderful Marcelina Chavira.
Chavira.
Chavira. Excuse me.
Chavira. You can say Chavira if you want.
Chavira. I'm so sorry, Marcelina. Hello.
That's okay. It's a single R in Spanish, and I didn't know how to pronounce my own last name till I was 14, and my father corrected me. So it's okay. I don't mind when other people mispronounce it.
Well, now I know. Good to know for the future. Marcelina, it's so great to have you on. I had to have you on because, as everybody's doing now, there's all these Twitter threads that are about, like, name the movie opinion that'll have everybody, and it's just like the John Wick with the guns all around him, or the one from Rapunzel. Tangled?
Tangled.
Okay. I never saw Tangled, so I don't know the Prince guy's name in that one.
I never saw Tangled either, but I know his name is Ryder.
That's boring.
I think it's with a Y, though, so that's supposed to be sexy, I think.
I guess. I think with Ryder with a Y is the truck.
Oh, yeah, that makes much more sense.
Mm-hmm. But there was one of those threads going around last week, and you posted that you think The Godfather 2 sucks. And I thought, what better opening to have a podcast guest on? Marcelina, let's just get right into it. What's your beef with The Godfather 2?
It's 3.5 hours long. Okay, let me preface this. I love The Godfather. I love the part one. I love Apocalypse Now. I have some issues with Coppola, like we all do. But yeah, it's just fucking the first. Sorry, can I swear?
Yeah, you can swear as much as you like.
The first half was so fun and so beautiful, and like it has Marlon Brando in it. It has James Caan in it. It has Abe Vigoda in it. It's fun. It's interesting. The second half is about an asshole.
Yes.
The first half is about an interesting family, and the second half is just about the worst person in that family. Mm-hmm. It's awful. Except for like the flashback parts, which is fun. Like somebody told me that Coppola squished all the flashback parts together and released that on TV, and then did it sequentially in chronological order with the De Niro parts, then The Godfather, then The Godfather 2.
Okay.
Which I would have loved to see because that's the best part of that movie. Actually, the best part of Godfather 2 is everything except Al Pacino. It's just, it's so awful. It's so bad.
This is okay. So this is very interesting. So I also love The Godfather. I think The Godfather is a great movie. However, I have always liked Godfather Part 2 better than the original.
A lot of people do, and I don't understand it. I don't. Why do you love it so much? Michael Corleone is Trump whacks off to the Michael Corleone parts of Godfather 2. You know Trump fast forwards through the good part, which is the Robert De Niro part, and he fast forwards that and masturbates to Al Pacino whispering and then yelling.
Because here's the thing about Trump is that he's clearly too dumb to know that Michael Corleone is overtly the protagonist, but that doesn't mean he's a good person.
Right.
And Michael, this movie, what I love about, sort of in general, I love when a movie franchise allows the second movie in the franchise to be ending in a place where things are really bad for the protagonist, and you get to see it, especially in Godfather 2, you see the fall of the empire that Don Vito built. Mm-hmm. Contrasted with the rise, like the very, very beginnings of it.
I completely understand the structure that Coppola was trying to do. And the juxtaposition between the piece of shit that Michael Corleone is and the macho-ness of Vito Corleone
Andolini.
Is not interesting.
I disagree. And I say this, I think that having, I preface my entire episode of this podcast by saying I have to watch The Godfather again. Because I do feel like Godfather and Godfather Part II are almost required to be viewed together.
Yeah, definitely.
I still remember watching this again and liking the parts that I liked, but I also felt like I should have watched Part 1 again before I watched Part 2, and I just didn't plan well before we started recording. But yeah,
I mean, don't have 8 hours. Nobody has 8 hours to watch both of those flipping movies together.
Yeah, you got to block off a whole day, like if you're going to do Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Watch.
Yeah.
But it's so watching The Godfather Part 2. And you mentioned before we started recording, we were talking about the episode of The Irishman with John Ozalay.
Yeah.
I'm generally not a fan of these epic length crime dramas. It's not really my bag, especially like if I like a crime story, I prefer something a little bit more modern. One of my favorites of recent memory is Hell or High Water. It's about, bank robbers. Fast. I don't like the slow build, but there's something about Godfather Part 2 that, like, even though it's not my cup of tea, and even though it is 3.5 hours long, it stuck with me, and I still like it. So I'm so curious about. First thing I want to know is where, what was your first experience like watching this movie? Did you hate it from the very first time?
I did. I watched Godfather, and I loved it. It's beautiful. It's well written. Like I said, it's interesting. It's fun. When I first saw The Godfather, I was little, and this will bring up my pet peeve. I didn't know it was supposed to be in the 40s because the 1970s has a huge problem with costuming. The costumes look like they're in the 70s. And if you watch MASH again, like all the haircuts are from the 70s, and like the like Kay's dress and her hair. That's not from the 40s. So my pet peeve is, what the fuck year it is? Like, I didn't understand that Godfather Part 2 was supposed to be 10 years after, because it's supposed to be in the 50s, but the costumes all look the same.
Yeah.
They didn't have lapels like that. We have pictures of what it looked like back then. And like, it was the 70s. That was 20 years ago, dude. We know what the 50s looked like. There are people in Hollywood whose only job is to make sure that your costumes look right. Yeah,
nobody's wearing leisure suit length lapels in the 50s.
With those giant fucking, it was awful. But I forgave them in the first movie because I was interested in the story of this family. And they at least tried for the 1970s. Like I knew it wasn't 1970s. I knew it was like 1900 whatever it was supposed to be.
Right.
With the Vito Corleone parts. So but the thing that pissed me off the most about Godfather Part 2 was the scene where Kay's like, I had an abortion. And let's talk about writing women.
Let's talk about writing women.
In the first Godfather, they totally just fridge Apollonia, which is cool. You guys know what fridging means. They just kill her as a way to make the protagonist mad.
I've never heard that used like that. The only way I've heard fridging is in the what's it called? The Indiana Jones sense.
Oh. Wait, what do you mean in the Indiana Jones sense?
Do you ever see Indiana Jones in the Crystal Skull?
Oh,
where
you mean the movie that what? No, I don't know that movie. I've never heard of that movie.
Blocked it out of your memory. For you.
There's a fourth Indiana Jones movie?
There's about to be a fifth a fourth in your timeline.
These aren't words that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I love Indiana Jones, but I also it's so bad. I'm an anthropologist and I'm a Mexican, so I know what colonialism does.
Oh, yeah.
And, but I do love me some Indiana Jones. I am a 13. Look, Coppola should be. I am inside in my core a 13-year-old boy. I love boobs. I love guns. I love blood. I like crime movies. I'll watch the Boondock Saints every day.
Really?
I am not upset. Yeah, I don't think it's good, but I love me some Willem Dafoe in drag. That's great.
That's true. Willem Dafoe pulls off whatever role he does.
Yeah.
Including Boondock Saints.
Perfect. So like I like things that 13-year-old boys like. I should love Godfather too, but I like the feminist in me. Yes, this 13-year-old boy is also a feminist. Is like, okay, in the 50s, abortion was very illegal. Yeah, they're rich, but like it's not going to be very safe. A woman just doesn't go get an abortion in the 50s, and they should have known this because this was the 70s. Mm-hmm. Second, if she wanted to keep her kids, like he took her kids away. She's a mom. She's not going to let him take her kids away. It's not how she was. Not just a mom. She was a school teacher too. She likes kids. She's not this waspy ice goddess that most people would write her character to be. She's a mother.
And she's also not like the kind of woman who, say, like Fredo brings around, right? Where it's the total flip of what it could be.
Yeah, and she's not Apollonia either, which is like a big part of the, being old school, coming from this old crime family that he was trying to juxtapose the old world and the new world, and like how things started and how things are going. And Kay is definitely American, and everything that Michael was trying to push, like want everything he wanted to be in the first part of the first movie until Vito was the assassination attempt, and then he goes all fucking psycho with the crazy eyes. But this is also the thing. When Michael tells Kay the story about the Frank Sinatra thing with the gun at the very beginning of the first Godfather, it's like he's trying to illustrate the breadth of the spectrum of his father's brutality and his family's. Like, yeah, he can be really sweet, but he also does this weird shit. He's proud of that. When he tells her that story, he's proud. Mm-hmm. It's not that he wants to reject that. He likes that part. And you can tell he continues to do that. And like, he's just a piece of shit.
He really is. If nothing else, Godfather Part II is so amazing at illustrating why Michael absolutely should not have taken over the family.
Yeah. And then like Vito Corleone is supposed to be this wonderful, great guy, but his 3 kids are crap. Mm-hmm. Like Fredo's the best. Well, James Caan was probably the best one, but because James Caan is just the best. But I don't know why I like James Caan so much.
It's because he was taken away from us in the. Well, I don't know about real James Caan. I'm just talking about.
He's fine.
I'm talking about Sonny.
Fine. Real James Caan is fine, and he's like super German too. I don't understand how he got that role.
Hey, I mean, they'll figure something out. He make him blonde and slick his hair back, and everything's okay. I think
that's the thing about the Irishman too. There's no fucking way that I'm going to believe Robert De Niro or Al Pacino are anything other than Italian.
Yeah,
there's no way. There's no flipping way, and the fact that they got a British guy to play the actual Italian, I'm like, what are you doing? Come on, Francis Ford Coppola, go make wine.
I think.
Okay.
I would like to. So let's go into that scene with Diane Keaton and Al Pacino.
Yes. So, sorry, I have ADD. And
no, it's all good.
About a week yesterday. We watched the most Italian fucking movie on Indigenous Peoples Day. Do you know what we did, Jay?
We did. Did we do a crime of some kind?
We did a crime.
Did we colonize?
Was Columbus Day.
They talk about by the way, one of the craziest parts of this movie is where they're in the Senate hearing and the senator from Nevada who they have in the pocket. He's like, Italian Americans are great. I love, and after, by the way, the very beginning of the movie, he's racist towards Italians, which very rare to see, but that's the 50s for you.
Also, like, Michael was a war vet, and he didn't put that out there with the senator. Like, that's number one. That's number one that you use in this country. It's like, I went to war. In World War II is like double special.
Yeah. But then he comes back into the Senate hearing and he's like, Christopher Columbus is a great Italian American, which that's not even accurate, like from anyway. But so Diane Keaton and Al Pacino as Kay and Michael have this scene. It's very late in the movie. Diane Keaton, Kay, has expressed a lot of disdain for the way Michael is treating her and the kids, and she just wants to get away. And Michael's been told that she had a miscarriage while he was in Cuba. And they just finished this scene where they basically intimidated the witness into not spilling the beans. And Michael's feeling himself, and Kay comes in and she just starts, really gunning for his heart, which is his family, because she knows that he wants a son, and she aborted his son. But the way she delivers this is such like high melodrama.
It wasn't a miscarriage. I had an abortion. I'm just, guys, I don't know. I know. I'm pro-choice.
Right.
All the way. I understand. I don't know.
That's the inner 13-year-old boy. I think 13-year-old boys are
all
pro-choice
13-year-old boys are pro-choice.
Yeah.
They understand inherently the struggle of women. But like, it's supposed to be 55, even though her haircut is 1970 burner.
Yeah, I think she has the same haircut in this as she does in Annie Hall. It's
not
really a lot of change.
No, come on.
Which is a bad sign.
A little effort. Just a little effort. Come on. But yeah, you don't just go have an abortion in the 50s. That's not a thing you do. And if you're a mob wife, you think they're going to let you get an abortion? Like, if you're a mob wife, you have people looking after you, especially if you're the Don's wife. You've got people around
true.
you all
Actually,
the time. You've got wise guys around you all the time.
I hadn't thought about that until just now. How in the world did she manage? I mean, she's basically been locked up on a compound, presumably, and is still locked up on the compound up until before the Senate hearing.
Yeah.
How did she get, like, there's no way she's talking to Tom Hagen and being like, yo, I need you to slip an abortion
Irish
Catholic.
Way. They already made The Irishman with Robert Duvall, and it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They need to remake that. So they're all Catholic. Everyone around her is Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to take her to have an abortion.
It's not going to work.
No. Is she going to go to her waspy family to do it?
She's allowed to leave the property, maybe.
Right? Where is she going to get this abortion? Who's going to take her? Who's going to do it? How are they not going to know? It'd be easier just to turn state's witness and get her kids and move to Canada. Like, that would be the thing that she would do. If she really wanted to leave the marriage with her kids. And like, he even says it. He's like, you know me. You know I'd go to the end of the earth. Yeah. If you tell the head of an Italian crime family that you aborted his child, that's just dumb.
Yeah.
And Kay's not supposed to be dumb. It's just poorly written. It's just really horribly written.
So, I mean, this is actually an excellent point that you make. Specifically about that scene and about Kay as a character.
Like, who is she? Who is she supposed to be? Is she a caring woman who teaches kids and has this family and loves her children. Like, she didn't want to bring another one of his sons into the world for him to raise. But have you been watching The Boys?
Yes, I haven't seen the final episode yet. But
I haven't either.
I've
I'm only made it halfway through season 2 yet, and I fucking
Okay.
hate Huey. Let's talk about mediocre white men all day. Every time, I do not care. Huey needs to die. Anyway, he's useless. Another piece of shit in a different way.
Yes, well, because he's indifferent, and he's just here. There's something that my girlfriend says to me a lot, which she mentions about why I like The Godfather Part II. This is her theory, and I think it's probably pretty accurate. Is that there's something I have a soft spot for sad white boys, and this movie and The Boys both are full of them. Watching this again, I have turned on Michael Corleone as a character, but I do enjoy the juxtaposition of seeing Vito versus Michael. Fredo as a character, I still I love what he has done as a character because he's the saddest one of all.
Fredo is the best. He's the only one. My boyfriend was talking to me about the actor who played Fredo, and he died shortly after it. And like every movie he was in is like a jewel. Like, he was in Dog Day Afternoon. Mm-hmm. He was in Deer Hunter.
Godfather Part 1 and 2.
Godfather 1 and 2. And another one that's just like, what the fuck? And then he died of cancer. And he's the best. I literally think he's the best part of Godfather 2.
I think he was married to Meryl Streep too.
Yeah.
Before that. Yeah. Talk about it. Power couple.
Just a brilliant, brilliant actor. And
he's so great.
When Michael is confronting him, when he's in the chair, that he is doing a great job. And Al Pacino is just fucking standing. That's all he does. All he does in Godfather 2 is have crazy eyes, 30-yard stare, and then whispers and mumbles, and then he yells.
Mm-hmm. I wish that having watched it again, I still have, like I said, I still love this movie. I got to watch Godfather again. I love the arc of this movie, but I do like talking about it with you. I'm trying to think and play it of who do you think would be a better actor to play Michael Corleone?
Nobody.
Than Al Pacino, because Al Pacino is great for it, because he is so bombastic and psycho.
Job playing a two-dimensional piece of shit. Michael Corleone is not a complex character. He's just bad at his job. Yeah. And he's there because his daddy put him there. So like every American institution.
Yeah. If this movie is about, if The Godfather as a film series is about the American dream, then
it's accurate.
This is accurate because it shows, hey, sometimes nepotism happens, and also that means nepotism is usually bad because this shit happens.
It's bad.
If Tom Hagen had taken over the family.
Exactly. Then we wouldn't have any of this shit. And Fredo would still be alive and being chill as fuck. Yeah. Going to see sex shows in Cuba.
Yeah. Too bad though. Fredo should be allowed to drink banana daiquiris.
And sleep with sex workers. Excuse me. Sex work is work. It's honest work. The only honest work in this country.
But he should be allowed to, because Tom is reasonable. Tom is not like Michael. Fredo's clearly not cut out to live this life long term, this crime life. But let the guy have his fun and let somebody who actually understands
how things work.
Yes, and to do it in an insane business, to run it in a sane way, the way that Don Vito did and the way that Tom Hagen tries to do. Yeah. I mean, the hurt on Robert Duvall's face when he's asked to leave the room for meetings, it's just like, he knows.
Robert Duvall knows
he would be better.
That he's tanking the firm. He's tanking this thing that he helped make. See, The Irishman, the first Irishman was very interesting. Robert Duvall's performance is beautiful and subtle and nuanced and
there's a lot.
Poor Frank. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, let's talk about Frank.
Okay, I don't know who that actor was. I looked it up. It was Robert De Niro, him, and I think Robert Duvall were all nominated for Best Supporting Actor. And Robert De Niro won because he had to learn Italian or some shit, which is fine. Robert De Niro did great. I love Robert De Niro's portion of the movie. I think it should be its own. I think they should have just made that movie.
I mean, it's basically, time-wise, it's a whole movie.
Exactly.
Francis Ford Coppola mashed 2 movies into a movie.
They should have just made 2 different movies. And then they could have had pictures. Like, they could have referenced that better. I don't know. I would have made it better.
Well, if they'd made
I'm just going to put this out there. Me, a 13-year-old boy who's also a Mexican-American woman raised mostly in the 21st century would totally have made The Godfather something about Italian things in the beginning of the century I know nothing about, but I definitely would have made that movie better.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because like if you do look at it from the modern lens, right? There's no way that the movie would be made like this.
Mm-mm.
Francis Ford Coppola, even with all the cachet of winning Best Picture and probably having this movie be in production immediately after Godfather, there's still no way that they're going to let him make a 3.5-hour long movie that is a prequel and a sequel. The studio is going to get in there and wheedle their way in and be like, okay, we're going to separate this. This is going to be its own thing. This is going to be direct on VOD. This is going to be on Godfather Plus. And
which I think, you know what? I think it would have been better because the studio was involved in the first Godfather and it was really good. And then they let him do whatever the fuck he wanted for this one. And then he was, what does my notes say? Bloated.
This is bloated. That's another thing. Like I said, I usually hate movies that are this long. I think most movies you can get in and out in about 90 minutes and you're good. I'm having a hard time because I figured the length might be a critique, but I don't know where
you would cut.
Where would you cut? What would
I just
leave?
told you I'd cut all of
cut its own movie
happening in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And just have the first 2, and that's it, and end, because the end of Godfather is so, with them closing the door and the look on Kay's face, that's just,
that's really
so
great.
good, because you can just surmise what's going to happen, that all this shit is going to happen. He's not going to be as good as his dad, because he's a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
His dad raised him, unfortunately. And so that's the thing. Like, everybody's like, Vito Corleone, he was so great. But he left his business to a piece of shit and he ran it into the ground. So, he wasn't great. He was still an asshole he was a better asshole, admittedly. He was a much better asshole, but he was still an asshole. He was still the head of a crime family.
He was an asshole with honor.
Yes.
Michael
and he
has
was
no
Marlon
honor.
Brando.
That's true. He's Marlon Brando.
Oh, and the scene after, where Michael's jaw is broken and he's sitting in the chair and he's talking like Vito. That's a great scene.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really great scene where, like, you can see that Michael might be able to do it. He might be able to he could head the family because he's stepping up. He's got this plan. He's talking like Marlon Brando. He's sitting there. He's starting to look like the Pacino we know and like all jolly and stuff. And like, cool. Yeah. All right. I'm on your team right now, Michael. And he goes to Italy and is just, And then he's just lame after that.
Yeah. He really does. I mean, if you don't like Michael Corleone, then this movie is absolutely not going to do any favors because it shows how inept Michael is and how paranoid and self-sabotaging as a character he is. And that's it.
Yeah, that's it. It's awful. He's an awful man. It's not even fun. They kill him.
There's some parts that are a little bit fun.
The Cuban part was fun. Well, when
Cuba's
Fredo's alive,
fun.
it's fun. When
Yeah.
Fredo's around, it's fun.
Cuba's fun, and the sequence where Michael almost gets assassinated in the house.
Yeah.
Right after that, that's fun.
Yeah. But then they're just mean to Frank. That's the beginning of the movie. It's like the first part of the movie. And then the rest is them just being mean to Frank. Poor fucking Frank.
Poor Frank.
Who's been there the whole time.
But that's Michael. He's so short-sighted. He can't work out who's on his side and who's not.
He's supposed to be a brilliant tactician, but he's very short-sighted. Like, how are you a brilliant tactician in being so short-sighted?
I mean, there's this time watching it, I really appreciated when they're in Cuba and his bodyguard tries to kill Hyman Roth and then fails.
Yeah.
Because the Cuban military comes up and shoots him. I'm like, oh, this is great because Michael's not going to know what to do.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. You think you're so smart.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Guess what, Michael? No.
Michael.
Fredo's right.
Yeah.
Fredo's, in a weird way, Fredo's winds up being, he is smart. He knows what to do.
Knows what to do. He did it. He would, if Fredo had succeeded, then maybe the family, it wouldn't have been such an action. You know what? If Fredo had succeeded in killing Michael, then he would have saved everything. Then everything would have been better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything would have been way better.
Everything would have been way better. Because then Fredo would be head of the family and he'd probably get killed pretty quick. You think Tom Hagen would have stepped up? Like, who would it just have gone away? What
I think is if Fredo was the head of the family, Fredo is basically just going to be a puppet. Fredo's not going to be actually like there and present because he's going to be partying. He's going to be down in Cuba watching sex shows.
Yeah.
And then Tom Hagen takes over as the de facto guy.
That would have been perfect.
Yes.
If he was just the head. I think they should have done that. Like if Vito Corleone, and I'm saying Corleone because it's Corleone. If he was smart, then he would have put Fredo in charge and have Tom actually run everything. That would have been smart. That would have been the smart thing to do.
That would have been smart. I'm smart.
I'm smart. Not like they say. Poor Fredo.
Poor Fredo. I mean, he is such a dum-dum, but he can't help but love the guy for trying so hard to do it. Because this is the thing. I think he knows what's right. He knows what, at least, maybe not like from a moral standpoint, but he knows what will work.
Well, and you see that at the end scene where Fredo's the only one who, like, oh, I'm glad you joined the army. Good job for you. Like, he's the only decent Corleone.
That last scene, though, I do think, I think that I don't know. There's something about like seeing a shot where it really cements how much I like the movie. And that last scene, it's like The Graduate ending where it just hangs on for a little too long. What?
I hate The Graduate.
Oh, we're going to have you back as a return guest to talk about The Graduate.
The first half of The Graduate, I love. The second half of The Graduate, I'm like, where did this guy? It's because they don't write. These men do not know how to write women. Like, women don't act that way. That's not how. It's not logical. Men think especially these men think like, well, women aren't logical. When men are making these weird narrative choices, these bizarre narrative choices.
Very true.
But I'm like, yeah. I was watching The Graduate, first half. I was so happy. Same with The Godfather. First part, so happy. Love it. So excited for the second half. And then it's just dumb.
But I think why The Graduate winds up working is because at the very end, you see Dustin Hoffman realize that he fucked up. Mm-hmm. And you see both of them realize that they fucked up because they're like, oh, this was a horrible idea.
Yeah.
And it's just long enough.
Yeah.
No. Turns the whole movie around for me from being just like, all right, this is fine to, oh, now I get it.
The only reason why I liked that I watched The Graduate was because I understood the reference in Wayne's World 2.
Oh, yeah, there is the reference in Wayne's World, too.
Yeah.
That's the only Wayne's World I've seen, by the way. I've never seen Wayne's World 1.
What? The first one is so good.
Marcelina, I got a lot of blind spots.
Oh, man.
But I am very glad that we rectified this blind spot and figured out why you don't like The Godfather Part 2.
Yeah, because it's about America. It's a very accurate American tale.
That's true.
It makes me sad. Look, everybody acted fantastically. It was well shot, beautiful. Everything that you can say about it is great, except the costumes fucking sucked. And the year that it should have been a costume. It could have been such a beautiful. Oh man. I also hate Titanic, but at least they did their research. Okay.
Yes.
If you're gonna do a lot of this is tied up in history too. So you got like this cool Cuban thing going on, and like there's this cool history going on. You can be accurate, and it just makes everything so much better.
I think James Cameron is obsessive in a way that Francis Ford Coppola is not. Like James Cameron is obsessive and exacting, and I feel like Francis Ford Coppola is just kind of like drinking wine and feeling the vibes.
You seen the Apocalypse Now documentary?
No, I've heard it's really good.
It's really good. It's really good. And I love Apocalypse Now. Like I'll go to bat for Apocalypse Now. It's a fantastic war movie.
You want to know a sad secret?
Boy. Oh, what?
I've also never seen Apocalypse Now. Yeah.
That's a good movie. And the director, the Apocalypse Now Redux, I actually really like because they go more into the French colonialism of the thing. Mm-hmm. It's a very good movie. You should tell. Marlon Brando's fantastic.
And it's Coppola, right? So yeah. Okay.
It's really good. And it's not my beef. Like I understand why Coppola is a thing. He's a brilliant director, but he needs to fucking learn how to cut.
Editing's hard. Not everyone can figure it out, but
it's very hard.
Now I gotta watch. First, I gotta watch Godfather again. Then I gotta watch Apocalypse Now, and then Hearts of Darkness.
Apocalypse Now is really, really good. Definitely watch Apocalypse Now. It's baby Lawrence Fishburne. Baby. He's 17 in it. Yeah, he's a baby.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe that'll be what I do over the course sometime before the month's over.
Okay, so there's my other beef with Godfather 2. I know he knows how to make a good movie. I know he knows.
I mean, I still think Godfather 2 is a good movie, but it is what it is.
It's fine.
Well, you as a guest have been much better than fine. So thank you, Marcelina. This is great. And if the listeners want to find out more about what you're doing, where can they find you on social media?
My Instagram is at the Death of Marat, like the painting. So it's the Death of Marat. And I'm not going to change it because maybe I don't want to be found. Maybe I don't want you to know my actual name. My Twitter is at MARC_O_Lena at Marcolina. Which is also very difficult to spell, and I'm not going to change that either. You can find all those at marcelinachavira.com, which is also difficult to spell, just my normal name, so why does it even matter?
Well, this is the beauty of having links in the comments or links in the description, so that way we don't have to worry about spelling things. Good news for everybody.
And everybody, if you haven't, which you probably have if you're a fan of this podcast, check out Jay Light's stand-up special.
Yes, it's still out.
Because it's still good. It's still out and it's still good.
Yes, and I would love if you listen to it. So take a listen to that. And you can see all of my shows live and live streamed at jlightcomedy.com for all the dates and info for those. You can find me at Diet J on the social medias. And if you like the show, tell a friend and consider subscribing on Patreon so you can get bonus episodes and access to film club watch-alongs.
Woo!
Woo! Marcelina, thanks again.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.